Ladies and gents, we are back. Episode number 2, part 2, yes, of what the Geneva location entails for you.
So the big question is this. How were two women who didn't cheat and purchase a gym franchise model, how were they able to spread their mission and purpose by empowering and transforming hundreds of women's lives through fitness, nutrition, mindset, and accountability with a micro gym business model of women only? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. We are LadyStrong Fitness.
You want to start us off, Brittany?
Sure. Right. Sure. So, I have, it's been fun. I would say fun and interesting the last few weeks of going through these processes. And I'm going to let Marcia touch on a lot of the things that she's been working with. But I have been able to have the chance to get really connected in the Geneva and St. Charles community through the schools, which has been a really cool experience for me. Getting in with St. Charles North, St. Charles East with their incubator programs and just getting connected and learning more about that community has been really neat because we've been in Schaumburg for 9 years. So we really haven't ventured out from a community perspective. So that's really all the update that I have from my side of things as far as that goes. We did make our introductory post in the Geneva community group about 2 weeks ago. And the response was overwhelming, which was really cool to see. So we're really excited to be able to impact the people of that community in that area with LadyStrong Fitness. So honestly, that's really all I've been up to. I feel like you still are in full go mode. So maybe you want to kind of give everybody an update on where you're at.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I feel kind of disorganized because normally I come with my handy dandy notes and I don't have them. They're mentally in my head, but I just want to make sure I address everything. So the last we spoke, a lot has changed since then in good and bad ways. And this is something that was to be expected by no surprise. One of which I would like to touch bases on. The last time we spoke was about our equipment. It was actually in the production phase. Production is complete. However, if you guys have been keeping up with today's economy and the whole tariffs, because our equipment is over in China, it's now we're at a point where we're holding our equipment in the warehouse until things settle down and both leaders from each country comes to terms and reach a mutual agreement. So that way we don't have to pay such a substantial amount just to get our equipment over to the US. So as of right now, everything is pending upon the equipment. So if you believe in the power of prayer or whatever the case may be, please, good vibes only. Yeah, because we could definitely use it. So, so that's that. So I did share, or I should say we shared a sneak peek of what that new equipment looks like. Super stoked. It's going to be very, very effective and create a nice experience for the location. So that's that, equipment wise. As far as the build out is concerned, we are officially done with the front portion, which is the consult, the semi-private, and the consult room, the lobby, and the semi-private. Now we're working on the back portion, which is the group and the recovery room. That's where we're at. So they're working on that. We've actually started the recovery process last Friday. Mm-hmm. Now, what we cannot start yet, and we're still at stage number 1, is the plumbing. It's been kind of chaotic getting the green light from the village. Typically it takes, I asked the plumber who's doing the job, I'm like, is this pretty normal, abnormal? He's like, it typically takes anywhere between 4 to 5 weeks to get the green light. And it's been about, I want to say 4 weeks. Yeah. So keep our fingers crossed. Maybe we'll have some good news because that's going to be a very, a long process. And here's why. Right now in Schaumburg, we have 1 bathroom. In the Geneva, the issue that we're running into, and this is just an experience that we've learned over the years, is that when our busy class times do transition, we have a line of women waiting to utilize the bathroom, and we didn't want that to happen again. So we want to make sure there's 2 restrooms for you ladies. So that's why right now there's only 1. The plumber needs to designate 2 toilets, 2 sinks, so on and so forth. So that's why it's pretty extensive. So that's that. Let's talk about the exterior signage. We're slightly having issues with that. I may or may not have to go in front of the city council. I had to write a letter to the council, reason being we have a huge brick and mortar building. It's about 2 times the size of the plaza that we're currently in. It's not. And what makes it very unique is that the village only allows up to a specific square footage. I think it's like 46 square feet of space for your sign. And we are asking for almost double of that. And the reason for that is because once you put our sign on the specs that they require, it makes it look like a teeny tiny little baby sign. And it's not legible to read. It wouldn't be great from a branding, a marketing standpoint, advertising, all that things. So we have asked to double that, and that requires going in front of the city council. So I might have that coming up. So that's that. We do have our exterior building. We gave a sneak peek of that. That will be painting starting on April 28th. So a lot of fun things in the works, a lot of cosmetics at this point. I do have to say, though, that we must have did a really, really, really good job at part 1, because I really thought that we'd have so many questions and people overwhelming us. And I don't think there was not very many at this point. So kudos to us, I guess. So high five on that. Boom. Yeah. So I want to go back to your side of things, because you barely scratched the surface of what you've been working on. I actually had that opportunity last week. It was actually last Friday, I believe. By the way, we're recording this on Easter weekend. I feel like all we do is work. But I had the opportunity to drive around to all the different businesses that we decided to partner with, and we ended up dropping off small little QR codes. Yep, with flyers. So let's talk about that. I would actually like to shout those sponsors out and who they are. So now they're official, if you want.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I have been really happy about the connections I've made in the Geneva community with a lot of the local businesses. For those of you listening who have a small business or know somebody who owns a small business, we grow in numbers and we grow when we get connected to each other. That's the best way for small businesses to grow. And so I had the opportunity to take Marcia along on my little tour last week of dropping off acrylic signs at each of these spots that have QR codes and coming soon signs. So first stop was Nautical Bowls. They're a acai bowl store. I think they are franchised. And Yasmin, shout out to Yasmin, she was my connection there. And then after that, we were able to go to Concierge Cosmetics. It's a med spa and plastic surgery center. They have a few locations. But shout out to Stephanie. Stephanie is the manager of the Geneva spot, and I got connected with her. And then we went to House of 423, which is a women's clothing boutique owned by Sarah Wick. Sarah's wonderful, gracious. She's a mom and a small business owner, and she's got a cute little spot, cute little store. And then we went to Country Village Meats, and I met Paul, and they are a meat store / they do have a meat locker as well in Illinois, and they have a cute little meat store there. So we met with them. And then we went to Enrapture Aesthetics, and I met with Maylene. So she's also a med spa. She has a little spot in the Salon Suites in Geneva in the Commons. And then where else did we go? Is that it?
There's one back at Geneva Commons. Was that the last one?
That was Stephanie. We went there first, then we went to Concierge downtown. So we kind of met her twice. So yeah, we've had a really good opportunity to partner. There's a couple other shout outs. Zach at Lululemon, and we didn't get a chance to drop anything off with them. But I did get to meet Zach at Lululemon. We're going to do some partnership work with them. And then let's see, is there anybody else I'm missing? No, because I talked about the schools too. So yeah, that's been really cool to connect with all of those local businesses and just learn more about them and what they offer, and how not only our clients can connect with them, but their clients can connect with us as well. So yeah.
I love that. I want to talk more about the Incubator Program. Shout out to South Elgin High School. Both. We did
St. Charles East and North.
Thank you. St. Charles East and St. Charles North. Yes. They're both very, very big schools. Mm-hmm. And I would like to say that I had the opportunity to share that experience with you the first go around. Mm-hmm. We actually spoke in front of a smaller group. You spoke in front of a bigger group without me the second go around. But these kids nowadays are so advanced when it comes to learning. It just makes me think when I was their age and the things that they have access to that I did not. I mean, the internet was just, I don't even think we had, I think YouTube just started. Yeah, and it was dial up. So shout out to AOL if they still exist. Yeah. But I want to just, the questions that they were asking was very intuitive, and their engagement and interaction, and even the demographic that we serve, obviously, is their moms and aunts, and them being able to go back and, kind of spread the word in regards to the Geneva location. So I want to just shout them out. And if you want to talk more about, I wasn't with you the second go around and what that experience was like.
Yeah. So first and foremost, I want to shout out to Mr. Horn at St. Charles St. Charles North. He was teaches the Incubator Program and a few other classes there for business courses. So shout out to Mr. Horn. And then I met Mr. Glavin at St. Charles East. And he teaches the incubator classes there, but he also teaches the leadership and business classes as well in 6th and 7th period. So I got a chance to speak to the incubator class at East. And then I also did 2 presentations that the leadership and business class puts on for other classes in the school. So essentially, the students coordinate with the speakers. So the students texted me, connected with me, let me know the details of the presentation, what to expect, all those things. So they coordinated everything. And then they invite other teachers to bring their classes to these presentations in 6th and 7th period. So the first, I think the first period I had about 25-ish students. And then the second period, there was probably like 50. There was 2 classes there, which was pretty cool. So, and I just did a presentation on small business and got a chance to interact with the students a little bit, handed out some candy, asked some questions. But to Marcia's point, I told both the teachers, I said, man, I really wish that I would have had something like this in high school, because I would have loved this. And I feel like it really would have led me on a different path in my life. Like I wouldn't have gone through, maybe I wouldn't have gone to college. Maybe I would have started a business in high school and like gone from that perspective. So it was just really cool to see that they have these opportunities for kids to take advantage of, for those of them who are entrepreneurial driven. Yeah.
I think the reason why we share this whole entire story with you guys is it's so important to network, not just with the people you serve, but also their children. You just never know how, the word of mouth spreads. Number one, it travels fast, but it's just great to just, creating that brand awareness and a whole new ecosystem that we've never been in before. And let me tell you, the word does travel fast. I've been getting on phone calls with people, different vendors, just to try to get different quotes from. And I shared a story with Brittany, and they already knew about us before I even had the opportunity to even introduce myself. So that says a lot about how we are marketing and advertising organically, and it does work. So next thing I want to touch bases on is I want to touch a little bit more bases on the recovery room, and here's why. We've been giving away sneak peeks here and there if you guys are following us on the new Geneva IG or Facebook page, and we shared some upgrades that we'll be adding to the recovery room, and one of which is the cold plunge ice barrel. So if you guys have any understanding of what that may entail, so there won't be any more Normatec leg compression sleeves, which is what we have in Schaumburg. Instead, this is a little bit more advanced, and it just helps with your performance. It not only enhances your performance, it reduces the risk of injury. There's so many different things, inflammation. I can go really into it. I can geek out about it. Yeah. So we will do another episode on that as well, just educating you guys on what that entails, but just knows that we want it to just, again, elevate it, enhance it. And not that what we don't have doesn't work, because it does, but it's like, I think it will benefit a lot more people in a different way, if that makes sense. Yeah. So
it's just it's very, cold plunge is something that's very well known in the wellness space right now. It's very popular in the wellness space. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So cold plunges are they're very well known. They are very, a lot, I would say like the last maybe like 24 to 36 months, it was really more known for athletes. A lot of athletes do those things. Like you have one here at the house. Like it was really more for performance. And now you're hearing more studies about longevity of life and it just being better as you age to add these things into your regimen, especially if you're exercising and active as you age. It just helps you like not necessarily live longer. I wish if that was the case, but more like perform better, but feel better, just in general, recover faster in between things. So we're excited.
I think the only disadvantage to having it is that it is really, really cold with a 32, 39 degree temp, but it's only for a short duration. So that's the only disadvantage that I could possibly think of. Next thing I do want to touch bases on, we barely scratched the surface, but I think it's important because if we don't now, they'll eventually find out. And I think now is a great time to do that, is talk about the new equipment that will be added in the group training. So I'll explain right now from a programming perspective when we do our stamina day, which is S3, also known as cardio, what we're hearing and what I'm personally experiencing when it comes to programming is it's really hard to find different movements to create some sort of stamina. So there's a lot of burpees, there's maybe some restrictions with people when it comes to jumping, if it's ankle mobility, knee mobility, whatever the case may be. So it makes it really, really hard on stamina days. But what I can tell you is that we are temporarily solving that problem. I'm super stoked. We're going to start announcing it soon. So I'm just going to kind of break the ice here now, is that we're going to do a fun run for the month of May and June. So what that entails is throughout the S3 days, there might be incorporating some sort of running outdoors. And that's fine if you don't care to run. There's always an alternative if it's mountain climbers, burpees, and whatnot. But the fun run, it won't be for every workout, but we'll sprinkle it in here and there for the months of May and June. We decided amongst the team, those are the best days or months to do them because it's not as hot outside. So maybe you'll do a quick run if it's either halfway around the building, 100 meters, whatever, 50 meters, come back in, lift some weights, things of that nature. We were talking to someone about it, and we're like, well, what about our shoes that we wear? So we are going to make slight exceptions for those months, obviously, but after that, things will resume as normal. So fun run, that's that. So that will slightly help with the issue that we're having on stamina days, but for the days that are maybe colder or rainy or winter, whatever, we are investing in newer equipment, and we're going to start by placing it in the Geneva location. Just know, whatever we do to one, we'll always do to the other in regards to equipment. So we are investing in the ski ergs at the Geneva location. That will help with those S3 days. We are going to do the same for the Schaumburg location. You guys may be wondering when that may entail or when that date may be. We can't put a definite date on it, but what we can say is that in hopes within the next 12 months. So just know that it will happen. It's not that it's not going to happen. It's just a matter of when. So I know there's going to be, right now, it makes things a little bit complex when it comes to S3, but it's definitely going to help when we do have that newer piece of equipment, because we have all the different strength pieces of equipment and obviously body weight. But I think S3, this will definitely help and enhance and create a better overall stamina.
For sure. Other than that, is there anything else we need to cover? I feel like I was gonna say you probably have.
Well, there is. I would like to talk about staff. So we've been very fortunate to have an amazing Green Squad team for the Schaumburg, and we would like to replicate that for the Geneva. So we're still in the recruiting process. We actually have, if anyone that's tuning in right now and you're looking to maybe find a coaching position, feel free to go to our website and apply. So we are always looking, but I think I want you guys to understand is that we're not going to have as big of a team to start out as we do at the Schaumburg. we're going to start small and then eventually it will grow from there. So it's just like the class schedules. We're not going to throw the identical same class times as what we have in Schaumburg and have all these crazy hours and very small classes. So it's just going to be the peak times, obviously, first. And then as we progress, we'll start adding more class times. And when we start adding more class times, we'll start adding more coaches, things of that nature. But we got to start small first. That's the best way to go. But just know that we do have our small team as of right now, but we're always looking to add to that. So what's really cool is that they're also going to have the opportunity to train at Schaumburg and do some shadowing. And so if you guys are seeing this new face, like, who's this? Yeah, I don't want you guys to think that. Who's getting replaced? That's not happening. That is not happening, because that's always the first thing is like, okay, who's leaving? It's like, nobody's leaving. We're just adding. And the best way to shadow is not waiting for the Geneva to open, but do it prior to Geneva. So when Geneva does open, they are ready to go. So just wanted to throw that out there. So I think we pretty much touch bases on everything, just the build out process, where everything stands, equipment, where that stands, permits. We talked about recruitment and networking. So again, we always said, please feel free to drop us a comment once this is published. If you guys do have any questions, concerns, comments, suggestions.
I think that's it.
Is it?
I think that's it. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the LadyStrong Fitcast. We cannot wait to update you guys again in a few weeks. Bye.
Thanks for joining us today. If you like this episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel or find our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or whatever your favorite place is to listen to podcasts. And if you really liked this episode, please leave a review for us on iTunes. Thanks, and we'll see you next week.